Welcome back to The Flash Rebirth. Now, when we last left off with The Flash, he still had the negative Flash powers and had an outburst at the CCPD. The aftermath of that was that he was transferred to go work at Iron Heights. You know, the location where all of the prisoners that the Flash captures go to. Well, this storyline is going to be the Flash dealing with a murder mystery and the rogues. I hope you enjoy. In our last video, we watched as the speedster Mina made her return when she was seemingly killed, lost in the Speed Force because of Godspeed. Mina offered to help Barry get a handle on the negative Speed Force, but it was all a ploy to take it for herself, turning herself into the negative Flash so that she could learn the secrets that Barry never could. In the end, Mina managed to escape with her employer, Black Hole. But Barry had another problem come up when Wolf calls telling him that there's been a murder at Iron Heights. Growing up, Barry loved to read good mystery novels. He wanted to be a detective who solved cases using the evidence and quick thinking to find out who did it. But after becoming the Flash, there was one part of those mysteries that he grew to hate: the beginning. With every step that he takes towards the crime scene, he's afraid of what he'll find. As he rushed into Iron Heights, he pushed past the guards asking, "Where is she? Where's Christine?" And instead of finding what he dreaded the most, he sees something that was just as confusing: the dead body of one of the rogues, Roscoe Hines, aka Turbine. Christine tells Barry to calm down. She is nearly done with the scene, though they're gonna have to go do an autopsy. Her first guess is the cause of death would be strangulation. Barry thinks back to how Turbine's time trapped in the Speed Force twisted his mind, but his question is, how did Turbine even get out of his cell? Director Singh's voice calls out that is not an investigation for them to figure out. They are no longer CSIs. Their duties are to preserve crime scenes now. Barry tries to reason with Singh, but he just tells him that he would hate for their first interaction to be the two of them not following orders. Again. But before Barry can continue to argue, digging himself deeper into a hole, Warden Wolf shouts, asking, "What are you all doing standing here? You need to do your jobs and get out of my prison." Singh begins to state that he's going to need the security footage in the last 24 hours to make sure that there wasn't any foul play. Wolf tells him that they are all his. He's got nothing to hide. While everyone starts to try and piece together the crime scene, another voice calls out, "It was me! It was the one-armed man! And now witness my daring escape!" Everyone turns back to see Axel Walker, the rogue known as Trickster, running towards everyone. Barry thinks that this would be an easy enough job for the Flash, but security would learn his identity. But that doesn't mean that his secret identity can't do the job. He quickly moves and he cracks Trickster in the jaw, allowing the guards to restrain him. Wolf yells out, "There's no way that he could have killed Turbine. He was locked up in his cell, and nobody gets past my security." As Trickster is dragged off, Christine mentions that Trickster kills Turbine and then confesses. Barry thinks she's right. That would be way too easy. The best way to find out what's going on would be to ask the other inmates. There wouldn't be anyone willing to talk to him though, except August Hart, also known as Godspeed. August was one of the first cops that would actually ask for advice on crime scenes. He didn't just write Barry off as some lab rat. Instead, he treated him like an equal. He was hit by lightning during the Speed Force storm, so Barry had to train him to fight alongside the Flash. Except August felt like being a hero meant more than just saving lives. It meant that he could kill criminals, and he became a murderer. He became Godspeed. Barry asks him, what does he know about Turbine's death? And August says that there's something different about him. Like, he's got some darkness in his eyes. Barry yells, "You don't know anything about me. Now what do you know about Turbine?" August tells him that Turbine's death is just the tip of the iceberg. The detective in him is seeing all kinds of red flags. His gut is telling him that. Barry shouts, "Your gut? Last time you trusted your gut and an innocent man was killed, and you had no sign of remorse in doing so. You aren't even a cop anymore." Barry balls up his fist, but a guard walks by telling him that he knows it's against the rules to be speaking to the inmates, right? Best move along. As night comes, Barry and Wally do what they do best, and they help stop a bank robbery as Flash and Kid Flash, with two opposing groups fighting against each other to rob the bank. However, as the two speedsters leave the scene, the crime boss Copperhead watches. She says that her men would have been in and out if their guys didn't show up. The conflict between the two organizations isn't good for business. A voice then asks, "Now you see why a union between our sides would be beneficial then." Copperhead tells the voice fine and tells his boss that she'll agree with the plan. As she walks away, Mirror Master appears in the window, smiling. Back at Iron Heights, the guards make their rounds on the inmates, but as the guard passes by Captain Cold, he begins to glitch. Below Iron Heights, Captain Cold is sitting on his frozen throne with money spread all around him, asking, "What's the word on Copperhead?" Mirror Master tells him she's game, and Cold says, "Told ya. She couldn't resist what we've built up. Safe and hidden away from the Flash and the CCPD." As Cold goes on about his plans for his underground crime ring, August steps up in front of all of the other criminals asking, "What do I have to do to get this collar off?" Cold's sister, Golden Glider, asks, why are they even entertaining this guy? He's not a rogue. And Cold scratches his chin, telling his sister, you bring up a point. What could you possibly offer the rogues, August? August's eyes light up and he tells them that he can give them what they've always wanted. The Flash! Later, as Barry and Kristen go through the contents of Turbine's cell, they come across a stack of books. Most of them are just law books, but there's one that Christine finds that stands out. A Christmas Carol. Barry looks at it, stating that this book is about redemption, and Turbine's files said that he was a model inmate who stayed out of trouble. Without any kind of evidence, they're not going to get anywhere. Christine tells them that they both know that evidence was always there. They just have to know where to look. They sneak into their office, and then they make their way to the solitary confinement to check on Trickster. But when they pull the door open, they find Trickster without his prosthetic arm and black eyes. Kristen asks what did the guards do to him, and just as Trickster begins to explain what happened after they took his arm, he stops himself and he asks, what do you want? Barry says that if the guards are abusing him, they're going to get him out. And Trickster tells him, and I thought I was the one with the jokes. Barry then asks, why would a rogue kill a rogue? You all used to be thick as thieves, what changed that? Trickster grips his mask, stating that the rogues are stronger than ever. Turbine was always going on about forgiveness and the error of his ways. He was gonna rat us out. He needed to go away. But before Barry could ask another question, both him and Kristen are grabbed by the guards and Wolf asks, what are you doing here? Barry tells him what any good CSI does, finding the truth. Kristen asks, what did you do to the kid? What kind of warden are you? And Wolf asks them, are you questioning my authority? That's strike two, and if I catch you investigating this or disobeying my orders again, you are done here. He sends them back to their office, but Barry knows he's just gonna have to investigate this alone, otherwise he's going to get Kristen in trouble. He heads over to Trickster's cell, and when he turns the corner, he sees August standing there, out of his cell. August whispers, you gotta trust me. But before Barry could ask, August yells, why don't you mind your own business and scurry off to your lab? August then goes back to his cell, and as Barry starts looking through Trickster's things, he finds the book, A Christmas Carol. Barry thinks that August is one of the best detectives in Central City. He would never be dirty. He wouldn't know how to plant evidence, which is why this is such an obvious plant. As Barry searches, he finds a drawing of a map of Central City with a marker and an X stating 6 p.m. sharp. So after work, Barry heads over to Wally because all of this has the markings of being a trap. And what they find out is Copperhead's men are loading up cargo that was given to them. With the two trucks, Barry dismantles one of them before they can escape, and the other starts to drive off. Wally gets ready to chase after it, but Barry tells him to hang on. He kicks open one of the crates to pull out a very large gun, and he says, wait, this isn't like any gun. I know this design. He pulls the trigger, releasing a blast, freezing the rest of the crates that were left behind. Wally says that that's one of Captain Cold's, and Barry says, yeah, boxes of Captain Cold's guns. Cold is the only expert at building these guns. There should be no reason why these guys even have it. Barry grabs the thugs, asking, where does this tunnel lead? And the thug shouts, Copperhead will kill us! Barry then asks the thug, you do know that normal human eyeballs can burst at certain speeds, right? And the thug shouts, okay. Copperhead's been feuding with some new guy over the crime world of Central City. These guns are supposed to be a peace offering from them, so we worked out a truce. Wally says he's gonna follow where the other truck went, and Barry says, good, keep a safe distance from them. I'm gonna follow this tunnel and see exactly where it leads. He bolts down it and finds himself in a facility, but on one of the doors he reads the words, Iron Heights Hospital. Suddenly the door slams shut and a voice tells Barry, I know that look. That detective mind of yours is working, but you're figuring it all out just a little too late. Barry looks back to see August, and August goes on telling him, you're right where you belong. Barry says that he should know that a cell can't hold him, he can just vibrate through, but just then a blast of cold air hits him and freezes him in place. Behind August, the rest of the rogues step out to watch, and another voice tells the Flash, I've gotta say, knowing the Flash is still out and running around just doesn't sit with me. Me and the rogues are happy here. This setup is the best thing that we could have asked for. Safe from the cops, safe from the Flash. As Cold finishes wrapping up his fist, he cracks his knuckles, stating, you're in my world now. Cold starts punching down into Barry, asking him, you know, every time my dad would hit either me or my sister, he would always beg for forgiveness. Then he would just do it again and again. The Flash starts fighting back, yelling, you're not your father! And Cold tells him, I know. I would never ask for forgiveness. With one last punch, Cold knocks the Flash down while the other rogues start cheering. Cold then kicks the Flash in the stomach, telling him, I gotta say, I'm kinda glad the Flash will witness the rogues' big win. Any minute now, those cold guns, the peace offering, they're going to explode, giving Copperhead and anyone around her the worst case of frostbite ever. Copperhead will be dead, and Central City will belong to the Rogues. As the Rogues outside the cell watch, August smiles, stating that that's just what he was waiting to hear, and he turns back punching Heatwave. Weather Wizard asks if he's insane, and August tells him probably, and he flips the cold switch off in the cell. Just as the Flash's powers begin to return, he makes quick work knocking everyone out. He then grabs August by the shirt, and August throws his hands up, telling him, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, I was on your side! I only joined the Rogues to find out what their plan was to kill Copperhead." The Flash says, "Let's go. We're gonna have a long talk after I save Copperhead." He then realizes that Wally is chasing after those guns, and August tells him, "Go, I'll keep the Rogues secure and get Wolf." As the Flash races out of Iron Heights, he radios over to Wally, frantically asking him if he's there. Wally quietly responds, "Yeah, I followed the truck with Captain Cold's guns directly to Copperhead. But don't worry about a thing, I'm gonna take care of this." The Flash shouts from him, "Wait, those guns are bombs!" However, of course, Wally doesn't hear the message, and he runs up to Copperhead, telling her to freeze. And yes, pun intended. Copperhead looks at him asking, "What are you doing? Because it looks like you're trespassing, and I highly doubt you have a warrant. So you might as well run back to the playground." Just then there's a beep, and all of the guns in the crates begin to explode. Wally tells Copperhead to get behind him, because just as the explosions are about to take them both out, the Flash runs through, grabbing them. Once the police arrive, Barry gives his reports to the detectives, and he says ultimately they have to let Copperhead go. Wally shouts, "Come on! She's working with Captain Cold!" And Copperhead asks, "Why would he try and kill me then? This is just a case of the wrong place at the wrong time. I have no idea why those cold bombs were sent to me. I'm just an innocent bystander with a terrific lawyer." Copperhead then goes to her car, and she sits in the back seat, telling the driver that it's done. They have no idea that they run the show now. Back at Iron Heights, Wolf begins wrapping up and clearing out Cold's hideout, stating that their only witness here is a murderer. August tells him that he knows what he is, but this happened on his watch. The Rogues used the tech concealed inside of their costumes that he let them wear. Cold laughs, telling him, "Who's gonna believe the word of a killer?" And Barry walks in out of costume, stating, "They don't need to. They only need to believe the evidence." Wolf asks, "What are you doing here with Singh?" And Barry tells him, "I'm not allowed to investigate Turbine's murder, but Singh is." He then explains that while examining Turbine's body, there were rare cold residuals left behind. Leonard Snart has been using cold guns for so long that it's left an imprint similar to a gunshot residue. As Barry scans Cold's hands, he says that Captain Cold is responsible for Turbine's death, not Trickster. Cold learned that Turbine was going to report what's going on, so he killed Turbine and had Trickster take the fall. Cold shouts, "No one betrays the Rogues. It was eye for an eye. What are you going to do? I'm already locked up." Singh says that that's true, but he has an idea of a place that can handle him. But then Singh then goes on to state that this was an impressive screw-up, Wolf, way worse than the inmates running the asylum. I'm gonna have to report this. However, Kristen rushes up, telling Singh to hang on. Being warden of Iron Heights is a big job. Wolf's methods might be hard, but they are needed. Singh tells her that he's disappointed to hear her say that. Barry says that he'll go ahead and walk Singh out, and as they leave, Kristen says that everyone deserves a second chance, right? Wolf pulls Kristen to the side, telling her, "I may have misjudged you. There's a case you might be able to help me on, something I'd like to keep hush-hush." Before leaving for the day, Barry stops by August's cell, stating that he could have escaped. August tells him that there was a moment where he thought about it, felt the wind on his face as he raced as Godspeed. But nah, stone walls do not a prison make. He goes on stating that even though what he did as Godspeed was terrible, he had to forgive himself. But until he earns the Flash's forgiveness, this is where he belongs. However, you, Barry, you do not belong here in Iron Heights. When your mother passed, you used that grief to build a prison for yourself. So no matter how many times you've tried to move on, you've always held onto a piece of that prison. So trust me when I state that you've served your time. So Barry visits his mother's grave looking for that forgiveness. Trickster is released, Snart goes to Belle Reve, and Kristen is working with Singh to investigate Wolf. Right now, he's trying to do the best that he can, be forgiven for the lies that he told and the mistakes that he made. He knows that forgiveness isn't cut and dry. It's a mystery, and one that he can't solve. And the only person that he wants to try and solve it with is her. And he asks her, "Iris, can you just forgive me?" And there you have it, more Flash Rebirth. Now, I personally am hoping that we're going to get back to the negative Flash and the Mina storyline soon, but this could be a way to build up having her come back as a big bad villain. What do you guys think? And what do you think of this version of the Rogues? Not really version, but what do you think of this take on the Rogues? Them working out of Iron Heights and basically getting captured and Copperhead showing up and this whole thing that's happening. What do you think they're going to do? Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed. Check out more Flash right over here. Check out more DC Rebirth on this side, or something recommended by YouTube. I normally forget what I said in these endings and just grab two random things and put them here. And around somewhere, here's my cartoon face. Click that to subscribe. Thanks for joining us. See you next time.